Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to the Sikh Youth Show on KTV, Sky Channel 858, each and every Wednesday from 7 till 8 p.m. We at the Sikh Youth Show cover a wide range of topics, a lot of taboo issues within the Punjabi Sikh community, and these variety topics are good to talk about, discuss and have debates about. We need to bring these sorts of issues to the forefront of the community and the Panth. Reason being, more dialogue we have, the more easier it is to address the issue, help prevent the issue, and get people to come forward and support a bit more. So today's topic is about an incident that has took place at a university in Birmingham, and we've got a special guest in the show today. The guest will want to stay anonymous because of her personal profile at her university. She's still studying. Because of the incident that took place, left her a little traumatic experience for herself. So for those purposes and those reasons, we're going to keep her anonymous. Other than that, this show, the Sikh Youth Show, and the guests on here, it is their views and their opinions only. These are not the views of KTV channel himself. So for all the viewers out there, just to reiterate that these are the views of the Sikh Youth Show and the guests only, not the channel KTV itself. Today's guest I'm going to introduce as Miss Kaur, and welcome to the show, Miss Kaur.
Hello.
Obviously we know what's happened, but I want to just go through a little background of how it is like growing up in the UK, how it was for you, socialising, family life, and then we'll go on to the incident slowly. So just to start with, obviously your name's Miss Kaur. For the anonymous factor, we're keeping you anonymous. Miss Kaur, what would you like to say about you being born and raised in the UK?
Okay, so I was born here, I was raised here. In terms of how my family are, we're a normal family. There's nothing that I could really say that is different. At the start, I was in a very dense white community. It was very different, but obviously when I started to go into secondary school and going to college, I started to mix a lot more with our people. In terms of the way that how I was brought up, I went to the Gurdwara every weekend. I was very normal in terms of how everything was. I can't say that I was different in any sort of way. I never was exactly bullied in any sense. I would say that I mixed with the community well. And
so you fitted in with your school friends. There weren't no issues with like family members and stuff. Like everything was nice growing up.
Not that I was exposed to. Everything was normal. We were a very normal family. I wouldn't say that anything went wrong.
Yeah, that's good. And that as per normal, you're normal growing up, as in like study-wise, there wasn't no issues.
Study-wise, I was always in my books. I never ever thought that it was okay to mess about, especially being in our community and being the way that we are. There's a big heavy focus on doing well, getting your studies, getting your education and getting yourself somewhere. So I always wanted to do that. I wanted to be successful one day, and that was the only thing that was on my mind. Right.
And you had obviously you had a dream as you were younger to succeed in life and get somewhere. And as like what you're saying, like parents-wise and family-wise, they've obviously done a great job to keep you focused on that.
Yeah, my parents, they pushed me. They gave me all the support I needed. They were always there if I needed them. So I can't say that with them. They always looked out for me. They always told me about the dangers within society. But they've always been there. They've always been there to support me.
Okay, and like before you went to university, obviously your friend circles and people around you, did you socialise a lot? What kind of things did you do in your social life?
So in terms of the way that I wouldn't say that I stayed in all the time or anything like that. I was in my books, but when I could go out, I would. And I never really started to go out in terms of going to town and things like that until I was roughly about mid-18 I was. That was the first time I ever went to town, and you always get told about the dangers, you always get told there's things that could happen, and you always have to be careful. And the way that I am, I don't like to go off the rails or anything like that, so I was aware. And you hear all these stories about girls and you never think it'll happen to you. You just wouldn't, just the way that it is. But before I obviously came to uni, everything was fine. I never had a problem.
You know, while you used to socialise, did you used to see your friends like try and mislead you or doing crazy things while they're going out, anything like that?
Some of them were, I'm not going to lie, some of them were, but I knew what was right and what was wrong, and I never let myself fall into that. So I was really strict on what I was around. Even if I was around something, I wouldn't let myself fall into a trap of getting into a big mess.
You've started uni this year. What sort of course are you doing, and when did you start university?
Okay, so I started university in September. The course I'm studying psychology. It's it's been a dream of mine. I've always wanted to do it. My uni, my facilities, everything, I can't say anything bad about it. I absolutely love it. I love learning. I love expanding my education. I just want to get somewhere, be successful. In terms of how that is, it's normal, like any other person is. But it's just until obviously the incident that happened that my whole perception of everything has kind of changed.
How are your friends at university? What are they like? What about your lecturers? What about your social hobbies at university?
Okay. My friends, I have a mix of friends from all ethnic backgrounds. I'm quite open like that. I don't really like to. I stick within our community. I communicate with loads of other people. It's just in terms of my lectures, I've got loads of friends. I've got friends in different unis. I'm happy and I'm comfortable. My lecturers are amazing. I have all the support that I could possibly need. The way that I am, I don't really go out in terms of, well, not as much now, but I never used to really go out as much. During the start of uni, there was freshers, and it was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of things that happened then as well. But
going on to freshers, so freshers experiences, as an organisation from Sikh Youth UK, we do a lot of freshers awareness talks and stuff like that. Yeah. But obviously we do that for reasons, because there's a lot of danger around freshers. So you know, obviously some of the paper headlines have been this season of freshers period. Over the last 8 to 10 weeks, what we've seen is drink spiking going on, dodgy taxi drivers and people hanging around. So you know, for your few experiences over freshers period, how was it?
Looking at the way that other people were, I'm very clued up in the way that I am. My mum always told me, if you're ever going to go out, you be responsible, and I've always listened to her. So in terms of how I am, I've always listened. I've never done anything that I would say is wrong. But looking at other people, I noticed that they're not completely careful. Then they don't think about what they're doing. They're not completely aware of their surroundings. They don't look back. They don't think, okay, let's not drink as much, let's not do this. And being young and being in uni, first year, even second year, you're going to do whatever you want, even if you're living away, because you've got that freedom. But a lot of people, they were doing things that weren't exactly okay. And I don't think for girls especially, they weren't being careful and they weren't thinking 100% about what they were doing. But over the period of freshers, there was a lot of spiking going on. You would walk outside and you'd see girls just on the floor, they'd just be puking, and it's not a nice sight to see, but it's just simple things that people could do to prevent that. And with associations like yourself, you give us that awareness, and you make sure that we know what we're doing, and for girls especially, because they're vulnerable. Compared to a lot of boys, we're a lot more vulnerable. And
so that's what I was going to get on to, my next question. Do you think there is a lot of young, vulnerable Sikh girls at universities? What you've noticed when you've come to Birmingham?
Definitely. And it's not just even with a lot of girls, men and boys, sometimes they target them, and when they're a bit intoxicated, they just take advantage of that situation, and it's not nice. And a lot of girls, they don't think about it. And over the period of freshers and being a student, you see it a lot more and you're exposed to it, and it confuses me sometimes, but I understand what you mean by girls just not thinking about what they're doing.
Okay, and before you came to uni, so you've experienced a little bit of freshers. Before you came, were you personally aware of the dangers out there? Were you personally, a bit more vigilant? Like you said, you have been, and what I've spoken to you about, you have been. But, before you attended university or heard any talks or lectures, did you understand the dangers that were out there, or did you ever witness them?
Yeah, I did. I knew about them. And it's more that everyone makes you aware of it. But the way that is, you never think that it could possibly happen to you. You hear about taxi drivers, you hear about people on the street as well. They just say things to you, they do things, and they always target girls. And it's mainly been focused around our girls recently because of how, well, a lot of Punjabi girls, they're very confident in the way that they are, and I really respect that about our girls. And it's just that a lot of people get targeted, and even when going out, everyone will say, you need to be careful, you need to do this, you need to do that, but it's up to them if they wanted to do it. Yeah,
definitely. Over the years we've had a lot of experiences and worked and supported a lot of vulnerable girls, and as at university, while you've been out, so you've socialised, have you witnessed anything while you've been out? I'm going on before this incident took place.
Okay.
While your experiences, while you were going out, did you witness anything, or has any of your friends been targeted of anything?
I haven't known them personally, but I have heard stories of people that have been potentially hurt or attempted. For example, there was a girl, and there was these boys, and they kept trying to make her get in a car. Okay. And it happened quite a lot over the period of freshers, and boys must have thought that girls don't know what they're doing, that they're just they've had a bit to drink, that they're fine, but they just target a lot of girls, and a lot of girls have said, oh, just be careful whenever you're going out. And I have been informed by one of the members from the Sikh Association. He attends my uni, and he did warn me. He warned me about what the dangers are, and to be careful not to walk alone. But and again, you just never think that it could happen to you.
So obviously we've got volunteers at universities, and one of those volunteers has helped and tried to guide you as much as you can through incidences, or just to keep you vigilant and aware of these. But like you said, you wouldn't think it would ever happen to you. I know this is going to be difficult right now for you, but we need to speak about it, because the Sangat out there want to hear what happened to you, and as long as you're comfortable with that, I want to go into that night and what actually took place from the start to the end of the evening.
Okay, so it was Halloween night, and everyone was out. I can't even tell you that there was no one. Everyone went out that night. It was meant to be one of the biggest nights of the year, and a lot of people were just going to Broad Street. It was an amazing night. Everyone had fun. The way that I am, I don't like to drink when I go out, so I was fully in my senses. I knew exactly what I was doing. It was a good night. It was a good laugh. And
who did you go out with?
I went with my best friends. My best friends, we all went out together, and there was a group of us, and we had a really good time until obviously the incident happened. But as we were coming home, taxi driver dropped us off quite far away from where we're living, and my two friends, they told me, they were like, okay, we'll walk you home, we'll just make sure that you're home, because I live a bit further away from them. We were walking down the road, and a car approached us, and guys jumped out, and at that point we didn't know what to do. And the people who it was,
I'll just pause you there. So as the car approached you, did you see it coming? Which angle did it come?
So it came, we were walking down the street, and it was coming towards us, but as it came towards us, it sped up quite fast, and the there was boys that were there. They told us to get in the car. They opened the doors and there was a few of them. They stood outside and they were trying to make us get in the car. They were using...
How forceful were they?
At that point, they were quite close to us, and we were obviously really scared because we thought in our heads something could happen, and we just wanted to get away. They jumped out. They said, "Mashallah, why don't you guys get in the car? Are you guys on it? What are you doing tonight? Where are you going?"
What time was this?
This was about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
About 4 o'clock in the morning. So it's a prime time for a lot of people to be coming home.
Yeah, bars and clubs usually shut around that time, yeah.
So a lot of people were coming home at that time anyway, and we were walking down the street, and I knew that if we just got past into the accommodation, there's security guards there. So with any other accommodation, I knew that there'd be security guards there. I walked in with my two friends, and we informed the security guard that there's a guy outside. There's a car, and there's about 5 guys in there, and they're asking us to get in the car.
How many guys was in the car?
5.
5 of them, yeah.
And
there was, how many of you?
There was 3 of us.
Okay.
And we were just waiting, and the girls were like, okay, we need to go home, and they only lived not far from me, a 2-minute walk if that, but I just didn't feel that it was okay for them to go home.
Okay, and so how long were you guys waiting around then?
20 minutes.
And that's within your accommodation now?
Within my accommodation. And we informed the security guard. We were like, okay.
And how was security guard then?
There was 2 security guards that were there. One was a bit laid back, one was a bit more vigilant on what was going on.
Did they show a lot of concern?
At the start, no.
Okay.
I think they just thought that we were students that are drunk, we don't know what we're doing, we're not in our right sense of mind. But the girls were like, okay, we're going to go. I told the security guard, look, we need to watch, make sure that they're okay. Can you just stand by the door by me while I watch them? Okay. Had my 1 foot outside and 1 foot inside the door, looking over, and within a matter of seconds, all of a sudden, I felt someone grab my hand and pull me into a car. And the car came running up behind me, and if I didn't scream as loud as I did, the security guard wouldn't have heard me. He came and he grabbed me and he pulled me back into the accommodation. After that, the boys got really violent, and they started kicking the door down. They tried to come into the accommodation.
Let's just go back. So you were watching your friends walk down the road. This is the second incident of the night now. So the first one, they tried to usher you into a car, literally. Yeah. Obviously, and saying usual remarks and commenting on yourselves. Yeah. And obviously you ignored that. I'm just making it clear for the Sangat out there so we know what's going on. And now, obviously, Benji's waited in her accommodation with her friends to let them go with the security. As she's walked out to watch her friends walk off, they've grabbed your arm and tried to drag you into a car. Yeah. And this is 5 of them again, yeah?
At that point, sorry.
It's okay, take your time.
At that point, you just think to yourself, what if they drove off, or what if something happened? And I just want to make a lot of girls out there I was very lucky in the sense that I was able to get away, and I was fully in my senses, and I knew exactly what was going on. I just wish that, and I pray that no other person has to go through what I went through, because it really messes up with your head, and the thought of having to go outside, and I was stuck in my room for days. I couldn't get out. I've got no family in Birmingham. There was no one I could turn to. I felt so alone, and I just want girls to be a bit more vigilant and understand what's going on.
You've been really brave talking about it, and I know you're very emotional right now. And you know, to the Sangat out there, Benji's really, really emotional here, where she's crying. And you know, obviously her identity is hidden, but this incident traumatized her to the extent where she said she couldn't come out, she didn't know who to turn to.
Oh God. The same night, I rang my friend who works with the Sikh Association, and he was the only person that I could turn to, and I knew that I could call him and he would give me support, because he warned me about the dangers like this. As soon as I rang him, within 30 seconds he was outside and he was looking for the car. He called a few more people and everyone was looking. They were so supportive. They came to see if I was okay.
I know it's hard.
Yeah.
Just before that, we're going to go back to the incident again. I know it's hard, yeah? After the security guard saw you try to get dragged in, he helped you, the security guard, one of the security guard helped you, yeah? Did you get any visuals on the car or the number plate?
The only thing that I had was what car it was, the colour of it, but I knew that there was CCTV there where it happened.
Okay.
So I knew that no matter what, I could get that registration number and I could report it.
Did you think, before ringing your friend for support, who's part of one of our volunteers, did you think not to ring the police?
At that point in time, I was so scared, and being in the community that we are, I didn't want to bring any shame upon my family. It's one of them things that people talk, and I don't want that stress. I don't want my family.
Did you think you'll get blamed for this?
Yeah, definitely. I thought that people would turn around and say, well, she must have played a part in it if something like that happened. But at that point in time, I was so scared. I didn't know who to turn to. I felt so alone. And I was just having these panic attacks, and I didn't know what to do. Yeah. I wanted to go home, but I didn't want to tell Mum, and I didn't want to tell my dad, just because I knew what they'd say to me, and I knew that it would just bring shame upon my family that something like that happened to me.
I'm going to just reassure you right now that nothing that night is your fault, okay? You need to know that, and that has to be in your head right now, yeah? In your mind, that nothing that you did, anything wrong. You didn't drink, you went out on an evening with your friends, there's nothing wrong with doing that, okay? These are predators, and they do this day and night. If it wasn't, you got lucky because you wasn't intoxicated that day, and I'll be honest with you. But to me, that's an attempted kidnap, an attempted gang rape.
That's what scares me, because I was looking to get away, and the amount of girls that are out there, and the cars, they drive round and round and round, and they go round and they look for people like that, and some girls aren't as lucky as me and they can't get away. And I just want to make everyone aware, and I want them to know that everyone needs to take them extra precautions just to be safe.
Definitely, while they're out, people need to be a bit more vigilant. South Sangaji out there, as a Sikh Youth Show and the Sikh Youth Team, we don't condone people going out on religious aspects, but if you do, be vigilant while you go out. Be precautious. You know, there is a lot of things out there that you need to be alert about. So, you know, there is a lot of stuff online which you can have access to from YouTube channels or social media, which give you alerts and awareness about the dangers out there. So please look into that. We'll go back to the next part of the incident where you were getting support from one of our volunteers who goes to your university.
Yeah, and he came out of his accommodation, and the first thing he did, he came running to my flat and he asked if I was okay, if there's anything I need, and he reassured me that everything was going to be okay. He made sure that when I was in my flat I felt safe, and he even told me he stayed out till early hours, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and he was just going around just making sure that the car had actually gone. The next day I woke up and he still was supporting me, and he told me what to do, who to talk to, and he told me to come to the Gurdwara in Smethwick and to talk to you and talk about what happened and try to get some support from the Sikh Association. And if I didn't meet with you, I don't think I would have had the courage to even report it, because I was so scared.
So let's go to the next evening. So you slept. The next evening you came to the Gurdwara where we were at, and you came to speak to the team that we were there with your friend who's one of our volunteers. And obviously you broke down, you got emotional that evening. How did you feel coming to the Gurdwara, speaking to us as a team?
When I first walked in, I was just being in the Gurdwara itself. It brings me so much peace, and I just felt like I was just relaxing because I've been so tense. Then after I spoke with yourselves and your team, I just felt like a weight was just lifted off my shoulders, just because I had family there to support me, and I had people that I could turn to if anything went wrong, and I felt as if I had the confidence and the courage to even think, okay, we need to go one step further, report it and do something about what's going on. And I had the support from all you guys to push forward with the statements and the services that you all give. It's amazing. You helped me in so many ways, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah. Okay. So that evening we helped and guided as much as we could as a team. The very next morning, one of our support workers came up from London, and she reassured you. And obviously, going to the police station, like you said earlier, it's a shame on the family. For yourself, you thought it would be shame on the family. You thought it's taboo. What are people going to do? Are they going to judge me? What, those questions were in your head, obviously. Yeah. So it took a lot of courage for you to go and do that. So really, really well done for that.
Thank you.
You came forward. You pushed that. You came with our team. I know I went with you and witnessed it, and one of our female support workers as well. So let's just talk about the next morning then. So we went to the police station.
Okay, so we went to the police station. We went to one. They were quite unprofessional. They just sent us off to another one. We were like, okay. As we went in to report the incident, it was so public. I found it very unprofessional. The way that they were talking to me, they asked me so many personal questions out in the open. They didn't take me aside. They didn't ask me in private. There were so many people there, and I felt as if they were all looking at me as if, oh, look what happened to her. And in terms of what they'd done, they asked, what did the car look like? Who are the people? And there was no privacy there. And in terms of them helping, they literally we waited and waited and waited, and they gave me a log number, and you could tell that the way that they didn't want us to be there. You could just tell. They were like, well, what do you want us to do, kind of thing.
So for our team, we try to support you and guide you to the local authorities.
Yeah.
We, obviously going against what you thought would be really difficult, making yourself really brave to walk into the police station to give a statement what you thought, and they didn't take no statement.
They didn't take no statement. They just said they'll give me a call when they're free, and that was all that they said. And I was so shocked, because if that's how girls are treated by the police when they are reporting something like that, how bad does it need to be for them to take it seriously?
Of course. So Sahad Sangaji, as you've just heard, Benji went to the local authorities with our team, with our Sevadas. We guided and pushed her and gave her the courage and tried to push her to do the right thing and report this incident to the authorities. There was no confidentiality, there was no statement taken. This is an attempted kidnap, an attempted gang rape on a young Sikh girl at university in Birmingham in the last few weeks. Now, if you've got family or friends at university and incidences like this have took place, let our team know. We have had reports of 5 vehicles so far, not including Benji's. 5, not including Benji's, of vehicles with numbers, registration plates, that are people outside university campuses hounding and sexually assaulting and trying to attempt to get people into their vehicles. What are they doing? What are the police doing? Why are these guys doing it? Who are these guys? Who are these gangs? We need to start looking at this a bit more, looking into it. Our Silverdals are out patrolling as much as they can. But we need your support, South Sangaji, so we can do more and get more volunteers out there helping. So girls like this Benji here feel that ease when they're around us, so they feel protected. Because like you heard from her, she said straight away when she rang one of our volunteers, he came within a minute. He came within a few minutes and he was at her accommodation making sure she was okay and then looking for the perpetrators. Why didn't the security do this? Why didn't the police do this? Obviously it was a traumatic experience, and to have the courage to go to the police station. How did you feel after all that day? It was a long day. I remember I was sitting with you, I was listening to other people witness what you had to say in the police station, which is ridiculous in my eyes. But how was your experience after that? Like, what did you think that would happen?
I thought more serious action would have been taken. It took them 3 days?
Yep.
3 days for them to even get back to me, and they didn't take me serious in any way. They tried to book in a statement and they didn't turn up.
That's after 3 days?
Yeah, they didn't turn up. And I was waiting, they didn't turn up. They just said, drop me a text, we can't make it unfortunately, we'll rearrange for another day, we'll give you a call.
Okay. So all day in the police station, the night after you've had a traumatic experience, then you've gone to uni to do your studies, obviously. That evening, what did you do?
That evening, I was in my room and I couldn't sleep. I found it so difficult to even try to relax myself because I felt that there was people outside and I didn't know what to do. And that night, the security guards, because I reported this, I was like, to the head of my accommodation, I told them what happened.
That's after you went to the police station?
Yeah.
So obviously security at that point, did they log anything?
They didn't log anything.
Okay.
They didn't do anything in terms of getting back to me. I asked for the car registration number, and it wasn't until I went to my head of my accommodation that they actually got that for me. They woke me up at stupid hours in the night, 2-3 o'clock in the morning, asking me, they're telling me that, okay, we've got the registration number, and automatically they just said to me, the car's outside, just letting you know.
So they told you the car's outside?
Yeah.
Okay. That evening, obviously, our team was patrolling.
Yeah.
We had 2 cars in and around that area. We also told you that that same vehicle, the colour was there. We gave you a registration number, which you automatically text back that the housing association has given you.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that evening, I know it was late, and you were messaging me, and we were on the phone constantly trying to get the police out to say those guys are here. So tell the Sangha what happened that evening.
So after the security guard came to me, it was a stupid hour in the night, and I rang you straight away, and I told you the car's outside. I don't know what to do. I don't know who I should do. You guided me and you told me to report it straight away. I reported it to the police, and I told them that the car's outside. It was a student night that night, I remember, and I kept saying, you need to bring someone out, send someone out, just so people are safe. We waited and waited. I rang 3 times that night, and the police never came.
Our team was out, South Sangaji, our team was out with 2 vehicles outside those campuses that evening. We saw the vehicle. We asked Benji to report it to the police again, to say those perpetrators and that vehicle are outside. For an hour and a half, our patrol team was watching that vehicle outside that campus hound and harass other young females. You contacted the police 3 times that evening to say the vehicles outside that attempted to get kidnapped and attempted to get you in the car and attempted gang rape on you.
Yeah.
and they didn't turn up. How did you feel with the authorities then?
It wasn't even that I was let down, because I was let down by them the first time. It was more the fact that they don't take matters like this seriously, and they don't, especially with our girls, I don't think that they would take it seriously with us. And the fact that I was on the phone to them, I was crying my eyes out, I was so scared and I didn't know what to do. And they didn't think that we need someone there just to make sure that everything is okay, just make sure that...
Even that reassurance, that peace of mind for yourself, I suppose.
Even if they sent a car down, and even if it was just anyone, just someone just came, just the thought of a police car being there, it could have saved so many people, and it would have probably made them move from the area. Of course,
if a police vehicle turns up and they're doing something wrong,
yeah,
which they attempted to do to you the night before,
yeah,
you know, by the comments they were making, the remarks, and trying to physically push you and pull you into a car,
yeah,
you know, South Sankaji, if you look at this, now, we just about get our young ladies who suffer traumatic experiences like this, or even worse, go through it, just about get them to have the courage, like Benji, to go to the police station. A lot of the times we don't get that. A lot of the times they don't want to go to the police. We know the reason why now. Because the lack of support and understanding of who targets Sikh girls and why they're targeted, and when they are reported, these incidences, the lack of support. Let's go back into after the incident. You know, obviously this experience wasn't very good for you psychologically. You know, it must have had a detrimental effect. Maybe, you know, how were you at uni after this?
I couldn't walk to uni by myself. I had to make someone walk with me wherever I went, and it was the volunteer from the Young Sikh Association. He walked me everywhere. Even if I wanted to go to the shop and it was 2 o'clock in the day, I was just like, can you just walk me, please, please, I just need someone there. And he walked me everywhere, wherever I needed to go, to uni. Even when I was in the street and a car was just driving like normally, I thought it was a threat. Everything, every person, I just thought that everyone was a threat to me. And I didn't know how to get over it, because I thought that if the police aren't protecting me, then what can I possibly do?
Of course.
It was more in the evening. Obviously I knew that you guys were all patrolling, and I knew that if anything happened, you'd be there within a minute, if that. So I knew that you'd be there, but it's just the police need to do more to help support girls, even if it's just by being there, just a car there, just someone.
Even just showing visibility around the areas. At least you're reassured that our teams are there and we're supportive as much as we can. You know, like before you came to university, obviously this incident is difficult for you, but only not for yourself only, but for your family at the same time, because obviously you've spoken and opened up to your family of what happened.
Yeah. Before
you came to uni, they probably were really worried and scared for incidences like this to happen to you. You know, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So, in terms of what my parents always said, they always like, just be careful. Whatever you do, just be careful. Don't do anything wrong. Don't put yourself in any of them situations. You see stories about taxi drivers taking girls, doing God knows what to them, and it's disturbing, and they've always warned me about things like that, and there's precautions that you can take. For example, especially with us girls, before we get into a taxi, we take a picture of the car registration number and we send it to our parents straight away, just in case. Or when you go out, you have a drink, you don't put it down, you keep it with you, or anything like that. There's little things that you can do. And the way that a lot of girls are, parents do tell them, but you just don't think it would happen to you. So the way that a lot of girls are, especially during freshers' time, I think they lose what they learned from before. They just forget.
It's really important, because I know it must have been difficult for your parents to or any other female's parents to let them go to university and live alone, so incidents like this don't happen, so they're aware. So they do try and teach them well. But, you know, obviously that must have been difficult for your parents to say they just about let you go to university to study, to learn, and, you know, prosper in life. And then incidences like this have a knock-on effect and take you away from your studies in a nutshell.
In terms of my studies, I started to fall behind because I couldn't get myself out of my room because I was too scared, and I was falling behind, and I couldn't get myself to uni. And the way that parents are, they want you to be safe. They want you to, they can trust you, but it's just the world that you're in. They can't trust the other people around you.
Of course. Obviously, this was difficult for you to do, this show, but obviously because of the countless reports we're getting as a team, you know, what made you want to come and speak today?
I just want girls to know that no matter where you are, no matter what you go through, there is a support system. If it's not the police, we've got an association that will work hard. They will support you. They will provide you with anything that you need. Even if it's not just to do with the police, just education-wise, financially, there's so much support that you can get just by contacting them. And they help you in so many ways, and they help you recover from the trauma. They put things in place like patrols. Just by doing that, I feel so safe automatically because I know that they're just there. Even if anything happens or if I see anything, they're just there and they can save so many girls. And I just want people to be a bit more aware and to just understand that the world out there is not as safe as you think it is. People need to be careful and they need to stay safe.
Definitely. And you know, we really appreciate your time today coming on the show and making the Sangat aware. And you know, out there it's really important that people who are listening to this show right now, you know, it's really important that you take what this incident was away and, you know, actually thoroughly think about what sort of things are going on out there. Before you go out, be vigilant who you're around, who you're with, and you know, at all times try not to drink and be in a state where somebody can take full advantage. Benji was lucky she wasn't drinking that night, so she wasn't as vulnerable and to be preyed upon. She was very vigilant, looking out for her friends, but she still had to go through this trauma and dark experience. This is her just starting uni to change her life, learn and get somewhere and prosper in life, and this had a knock-on effect on her. Now she's speaking out so thousands of you out there can learn from this experience, spread the word, spread the awareness so it doesn't happen. It's about prevent. She was vigilant, she was aware, that's why it didn't happen, and she turned to the right people at the right time. You know, there's a lot of people out there that will try and show support but maybe not be able to do it as much as they can. You know, it's really important that you go to the right people who are around you all the time. You know, what would you like to say to the viewers about our team and how the young females and the males have supported you? And after that we'll sort of end the show, but just coming on to the last little bit, what would you like to say to the viewers out there about the Sikh youth team and what they've done?
The Sikh youth team, they are my rock in Birmingham. They support me in so many different ways. They provide you with so many different things. They make you feel safe and they help you get over the trauma. But the way that I was in my mental state of mind, I was not there. I couldn't physically get myself up. They're just there for you no matter what. And the volunteers that help with the association, they cover you for so many different things, even if it's just simple things like just helping you get to the Gurdwara, or even if it's just simple things helping you get from A to B. They help you in so many different ways, and I'm so grateful that I was able to meet you guys and I was able to share my story and have your support as well as anyone else. I just want other girls to be more careful and just understand that this happens all the time. It's just about what we need to do to make everyone else aware.
Definitely. And you know, obviously when you first came that evening to the Gurdwara and we spoke, you know, you were saying you were struggling to sleep.
Yeah.
we gave you some advice which spiritually could help you. We gave you a prayer to say before bed, which is the Geet and Sohila prayer. Do you still do that?
I still do that every night. Every night before I go to bed, that's the one thing I do. It just brings me so much peace, and I can relax because I know that I'm protected and I'm safe.
Definitely. Thank you for your time and spreading that awareness. Keep tuning into the Sikh Youth Show each and every Wednesday. We will have more hot topics going on and discussions, and we really want to thank Banji. We had to keep her anonymous because she's still studying in the Birmingham area, but we really appreciate her time, her effort. I know it was difficult and you did get emotional, but don't worry, the whole team's behind you, the whole show's behind you, the whole project's behind you, and while you're studying in Birmingham, we will try and support you as much as we can, along with your friends and family. Thank you for your time. Tune in next week when we have another great show lined up with you, lined up for you from the Sikh Youth Show, and all the viewers out there. Thank you for listening. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
एक ओंकार श्री वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। पातशाही